My name is Collin Pace, and I am a walking miracle. So when I was 16, I lived here in Springfield, Virginia, going to Lake Braddock High School. Started to get sick, thought it was the flu, thought it was colds, just constantly having problems. From the time I was 17 until I was 18, I was constantly back and forth, in and out of hospitals. I'd gone through several different procedures and exploratory surgeries, chasing down the symptoms. I would have lots of issues from the breathing where my heart would race and then it would bottom out and actually get extremely slow. Basically living in a day-to-day pain cycle. Growing up in the church, my mom had always made a big point since I was about 5 to make sure that we were always in church. We were always active in our church, we were always participating, or even helping out a lot inside of our church. So we had a lot of prayer inside of our church, was in constant communication with the pastors there and the members there. Sitting down with the oncologists after all of these extra tests and procedures, they finally figured out what it was. And what they told us was you had stage 4 CS, and it had already metastasized at this point. So what that means is cancer cells had already broken off from the original tumor and had formed throughout most of the rest of your body. So you actually had several tumors spread throughout your body, and it was constantly in your bloodstream. So we get to Johns Hopkins, and we're waiting for the doctor to come in, and he's late. He's not normally late, but he was this day. When he comes in, he has test results with him, but he won't look. He would not look at me. He would not look at my mother. And then eventually, he sat down and he still wouldn't look at us. 10 minutes went by and he didn't say a word. He knew it was my birthday, and there was nothing that they could do. He said, at this point, you have about 30 days. You can make your own choice. You can choose to stay here in the hospital, or you can go home, and we'll give you any medicine you want to make you as comfortable as you can be. I can hear my mom having to tell my brothers that he's not gonna make it. I decided that if this was gonna be how it was, that I wanted to take one more family trip. So our church was actually going to Israel that February. About a week into the trip is when we go to the Jordan River. And at this point I'm feeling just so exhausted, but I'd already made up in my mind and in my spirit that I was going to make it to the river. My brothers had to carry me to the water because I couldn't walk. And I can remember knowing that I was going to go down in the water and arise a different person. I could feel it, and I knew it. Cancer would be gone the moment I came out of that water. So eventually, we get back to the States, and I have to have my blood work test. And then they said, oh, there's something wrong with this test. We got to do it again. You're past your 30 days, and this can't be right. Because on my test results, there was 0 trace of any cancer. There is no remission. There is no blood levels going down and they're receding. It was completely clean, as if it never existed. And from that day forward, I could feel my body getting stronger. I could feel it getting better. So the enemy had worked really hard to clearly stifle me, to hold me back, to take me out, to prevent me from doing all that God had planned for me. But I can tell you, God's power has the final say. I get to play a huge part here at Summit Church. Most of you have probably seen me. Most of you have probably never talked to me. But I lead small groups. I like to be actively involved. My kids are all here. My mother-in-law and my mother are both here. So I can come here today and boldly stand in front of every one of you and let you know that our God still heals today. The stories you read in the Bible, they're not just stories. Those are the living proof and the living word that has come to life. There's nothing special about the Jordan River. You get baptized right here. But you just gotta have your faith and be all in. You've got to elevate your faith and go vertical with it. My name is Collin Pace, and I am a walking miracle, and God is a miracle worker.